Hello, it's the Bad Mini Painter, and this is going to be a kind of different video than what I normally do. I don't do consumer stuff, but I've had it. I am never buying Citadel products again. I'm not buying the brushes, I'm not buying the paints, I'm not buying the cutters and scrapers and glue or anything of that sort, because to a large extent it is overpriced, inferior products. Other people have made this conclusion before me. So let me tell you a little story. So when I was 10 to 13, I was way into Warhammer Fantasy, especially orcs. I'm painting old world orcs right now. So I was buying the Citadel color range, and they had the pots with the what's called screw. You could tighten up the top, you screw it on, screw it off, screw. And that was fine. It was good, decent paints. There wasn't a lot of colors in the range, but the colors that were there worked. The brushes were fine enough. And I was a kid, I didn't know any better. So I was faithful towards the company that sold the models. So the thought was that since they made the models, they probably also made the best paint for those models. That's a sound logic. When I got back into the hobby about 10 years ago, so in my mid-30s, early 30s, something like that, I went to my local Games Workshop store. I bought some models, and I bought the paints that I needed for those models, which was Citadel colors, because it was a Games Workshop flagship store thing in my country. So I got those colors, and fine, happy, I used them. And as I started getting more and more back into the hobby and needing more and more paints, it was becoming increasingly more expensive, because these pots are expensive. It's an expensive paint. Now, so due to being faithful to the company that sold the models that I love so much, I also bought the paints, because again, the assumption is that the best paints for the models are probably made by the company who does the models. Again, it kind of makes sense, and they're pushing them. These are inferior products, and I will try to show you why. Notice how it isn't quite closed completely. Now, you could argue that that is my fault, because what happens is you will open it, and it will stand like this, and you will take your paint out of here. I can touch it, that's no problem, because it's quite dead. And then you would close it down, and everything's good, is the thought. But paint is going to drip from here down into here, and where the lid is supposed to seal, there's now paint clogging things up. So a little bit of air will come in, and over time it will turn the paint into this. This is a half full pot of dryad bark. I bought it maybe 3 months ago. And this is the same here for Thondia Brown. Same story. It looks wet. It isn't. It's totally dried up. These are for the trash. And it's such a simple problem to solve. The lids are bad. You could go back to the where you screw it on and off. There are many things you can do. All other companies, more or less, the Army Painter, are using dripper bottles. Many YouTubers, many people buy the Citadel and transfer the paint into dripper bottles. Why? Why haven't they changed this? It's still like this. Another problem with them is they tip over. It's kind of like a running joke that you spilled your non-oil. You've probably seen the meme somewhere. I have a contrast paint here. Again, this is an expensive paint, almost double the price of a Army Painter, almost double the price of a scale color. And my new favorite, let's see if I can grab some, are these AK Interactive. I'm slowly going to transition into these as not as I use them, but as they die, I will replace them with AK Interactive. Super easy to open. There's a nice little grip. Screw on, screw off. And this is a fairly old paint, by the way. It's like, but it still works absolutely fine. So why hasn't GameShop changed any of this? That's a good question. But if you think about it, why would they? They have a loyal consumer base. Everyone getting introduced into Warhammer are probably going to a Games Workshop store with their friends to have a game or two. They will buy some models and then they will buy the paint. And then it's consumer habit. This is not an old pot of paint, by the way. It's not. It's half a year or something like that. But it's useless. And the thing is that the Citadel paints, they aren't bad. Oh, yeah, this is dead too. Not as bad. Do you have some color on you? No. The paints in themselves are fairly decent. If you ignore the yellows and the whites, because for some reason Citadel hasn't cracked that formula, I think it's mainly due to the pots. But look at this. It's ridiculous. So why are they still doing this thing here? Why? Why? Well, there's no incentive for them to not be doing this. They don't want you to use all your paints. They want you to buy more paints. That's how a company works. They want to sell their product. So if they know that you're going to be a faithful consumer and you're going to be loyal towards Games Workshop, you're going to be loyal towards Citadel because you go to your local friendly game store and you buy Citadel colors because that's what they advertise on the box and everything else. So they know that they're going to sell these for almost twice the price of a better product. This in Denmark is roughly £2.5, something like that. This is 4. This will last until the last drop has been used. This will last until you forget to close it properly due to gunk collecting here. So why are Games Workshop doing this? It's anti-consumer. It just plain suck. It's new people are going to come into the hobby and they're going to buy their paints, and after 3 months they're going to need to buy those paints again because, well, you can do this, or you see I have this little tool here. It's a little poker. You can see how it's full of stuff. So I can scrape off this from the pot once in a while so I can close it properly. But this shouldn't be necessary. So Games Workshop aren't changing these. Probably won't ever, or not for a very long time, because they still have these in stock. And it's going to be a huge expense for them to change them, because they're going to need to design new bottles, probably new filler mechanisms, and like the whole production is going to have to change, not of the actual paint, but on the filling and then the plastic for the bottles and all that stuff. That's going to need to change, and that's going to cost them money on their overpriced paints. They're not going to do that because people keep buying these shitty, horrible pots. I'm done. I'm officially done. I have bought my last Citadel product. Still love Games Workshop, still buying the models and painting them, but Citadel, no. Anywho, that was all. This was a different kind of video. This was a rant you've heard before, but honestly, I wanted to share my frustration because enough is enough. It's dumb. And I've bought hundreds and hundreds of pots of paints from them. And it's the same story every time. I never get to spend them before they actually ruin themselves. I know the argument could be just remember to clean this every time, but that shouldn't be necessary. This is an inferior product to the AK Interactive Off-White. This flows better off the brush. It doesn't gunk up. It's an inferior product to double the price in a pot that will destroy it. Not slowly, but impressively fast. Anywho, thank you for watching. I hope you have an joyous weekend, and let me know what you think in the comments. Am I way off? Am I being a hysterical, angry old man? Or should everyone stop buying these horrible, horrible paints to way too high price? And maybe, hopefully, that way Citadel would change it. They won't lower the prices, but you know, high prices is fine if I'm going to start to rant again. What do you think? Do you use Citadel colors anymore? How long have you been using them? I would like to know. Have an awesome Saturday or Sunday, depending on when you watch this. Or whatever day. Oh, and also like and subscribe. You have to say that, else you won't be famous.